Hayabusa 参上.
Hi guys, today's video we talking about Hayabusa childhood, but before anything else please like and subscribe Kurjum's Adventure and click the notification button and share. If like this kind of video just comment below.
I want nobody but you. I want nobody but you.
Hayabusa release date November 4, 2016. Roll Assassin Specialty Chase Burst Lane Wreck. Jungling price 32,000, battle points 32,000 or 599 diamonds, 599 skill resource energy, damage type physical, basic attack type melee, skill 1 ninjutsu, phantom shuriken ninjutsu. Phantom shuriken damage buff. Hayabusa throws 3 returning shurikens in the target direction, each dealing 150 to 250, plus 70% extra physical attack, physical damage to enemies hit and slowing them by 35% for 2 seconds. Enemies hit by multiple shurikens take only 30% of the damage after the first hit. Hayabusa restores 10 energy for each non-minion enemy hit. Passive. Hayabusa permanently gains 3%-18% spell vamp ninjutsu. Quad shadow mobility. Summon Hayabusa dashes in the target direction and releases 4 phantoms that travel in separate directions. The phantoms will remain at the end of their paths or attach themselves to the first enemy hero hit, dealing 130 to 180, plus 30% extra physical attack, physical damage and slowing them by 40% for 2 seconds. Hayabusa will immediately stop if he hits an enemy hero during the dash. Use again. Hayabusa teleports to a phantom's location and reduces the cooldown of ninjutsu, phantom shuriken ninjutsu, phantom shuriken by 1 second. If the phantom is attached to an enemy hero, he also deals 130 to 180, plus 30% extra physical attack, physical damage to the enemy. Ultimate Auji, Shadow Kill Burst I, will be a cockage. Hayabusa blends into the shadows and launches 6 single target attacks on enemies in the area, each dealing 140, plus 75% extra physical attack, physical damage. The attacks prioritize enemies with shadow mark and each will consume a mark to deal 45 to 85, plus 20% extra physical attack, extra physical damage. Does not apply shadow mark. Hayabusa is the head of the Shadow Sect's second son. Since childhood, he grew up under his father's iron-handed rule, and while his ninjutsu could never rival that of his brother, he was a kind friend and family member to him. When Hayabusa learned that his brother had been harmed by Hanzo, he resolved to spend the rest of his days mastering ninjutsu, in order to hunt down and exact revenge upon him. Hayabusa, the Crimson Shadow, is a hero in Mobile Legends. Bang Bang. Hero stats. Edit attribute fixed value base stats percentage stats level 1 level 15 growth HP 24 29 46 20 156.5 energy 100 0 horsepower regen 7.4 13.6 0.44 286 energy regen 40 physical attack 117 251 9.5714 magic power 0 physical defense physical DMG reduced 17 12.4% 75, 38.5% 4.1429, magic defense, magic DMG reduced, 15, 11.1% 50, 29.4% 2.5, attack speed 1.07 1.31 0.0171 429, attack speed ratio, 100% cooldown reduction, 0% critical chance, 0% critical damage. 200% crit DMG reduction, 0% movement speed 260, physical 0 Peruvian huevos souls 0% magic 0 Peruvian huevos souls 0%, Lefestial, 0% spell vamp, 0% basic attack range 1.8, resilience, 0% damage reduction 0% healing effect, 0% healing received, 100% Sonos beam, Gen 2. The compact smart soundbar for TV, music and more. Black, Sponsored by Sonos 911 United Arab Emirates Dirhams 2349.00 Add to cart advertisement story Hayabusa in story information alias Crimson Shadow internal name Ninja origin Scarlet Shadow Cadia Riverlands gender male species human occupation Shadow sect ninja fighting style ninjutsu weapons katana kunai website Legends of Dawn hero page Hayabusa mastery code relationships unnamed father unnamed brother deceased Hanabi, childhood friend, rival, Kagura, childhood friend, little sister alike, Hanzo, enemies, voiced by English Gaku Space, 2021, 1, Japanese Fukagawa Kasumasa, 2, Indonesian Kamal Nasuti, citation needed more leader of the Scarlet Shadows Shadow Sect, upon the Cadia Riverlands. Hayabusa is the head of the Shadow Sect's second son. Since childhood, he grew up under his father's iron-handed rule, and while his ninjutsu could never rival that of his brother, he was a kind friend and family member to him. When Hayabusa learned that his brother had been harmed by Hanzo, he resolved to spend the rest of his days mastering ninjutsu, in order to hunt down and exact revenge upon him. Lore in the north of the Cadia Riverlands there lies a thick forest within a canyon. All around is aesthetic beauty, yet with a harsh and dangerous air. Myriad waterfalls flow like lengths of white silk, the water resounding throughout the area as it splashed high into the heavens. When the wind picks up, fog and cherry blossoms float in the air. This is the home of the ninja, the Scarlet Shadow. Many years ago, the earliest disciple of the Cadia Riverlands defender known as the Great Dragon, arrived in Scarlet Shadow. He was a ninja master, and through his training achieved a great endurance allowing him to surpass the limitations of his physical form. Thus, he brought forth a special skill combining both physical and spiritual energies, ninjutsu. Those who followed under him also traveled to the canyon deep in the mountains, and there they built a village, naming themselves Ninja. After the ninja master passed away, the ninjas of the Scarlet Shadow split into two factions on account of their differing understandings of ninjutsu. One became known as the Scarlet Sect and the other, the Shadow Sect. The former advocated using all kinds of ninja equipment, while the latter focused on intense study into ninjutsu itself. Hayabusa is a ninja born into the Shadow Sect, second son of the Shadow Sect leader. He was sent to the Scarlet Sect head to study as their disciple, in an educational exchange between the two sects. They arranged for Hayabusa and Hanabi to grow up together, and if all went well, for them to marry once grown. Together they would become both links between, and hostages held by, the Scarlet and Shadow. When Hayabusa was sent to the Scarlet Sect, he had no idea that his family already had his life planned out for him. His father told him sternly, "From this day, you're a disciple to be raised by both the Scarlet and Shadow sects. You should be every bit as outstanding as your brother. As my son, you cannot afford to fall behind." The greatest leader of the ninja had always been known as the Akakage, and Hayabusa's brother was widely considered to be in the running for the next strongest ninja, the next Akakage. To the young Hayabusa, the shadow cast by his brother was as great as a mountain and just as hard to climb out from. But he swore to himself, "I'll follow in my brother's footsteps." To achieve this goal, Hayabusa began training in earnest, and soon stood head and shoulders above the other disciples. This also placed a lot of competitive pressure on the proud Hanabi. From the first time Hayabusa beat Hanabi in a trial competition, he gained himself a rival that would last the entirety of his childhood. Hanabi would usually greet Hayabusa with a confrontational scowl, and on the eve of each full moon do her utmost to provoke a fight between them. Hayabusa started out a little tense, but soon gained self-confidence after a series of victories. Each of Hanabi's challenges all ended in defeat. Whenever a day of rest rolled around, Hayabusa would always rush off home, as Hanabi gazed on coldly. Whenever his father was away, Hayabusa would cause a racket and insist his brother take him mountain climbing or fishing. He was usually completely fatigued having returned from a mission, however. Yet Hayabusa's brother's heart was kind, and he'd always get together the strength to take him on a trip, and when Kagura would come to visit, she'd always tag along and cause mischief for them too. It was only with his brother that Hayabusa ever seemed like a carefree child. That was, Until one day when they were on the road home and he told Hayabusa, "I need to head out. It may be a long time before you see me again." Hayabusa understood that you didn't question a ninja on their mission. He looked up at his brother's ever-present smile, and nodded. And so the days passed, one by one. Days off came, and went, but Hayabusa saw no sign of his brother. He slowly grew, used to living in a home now short a family member, grew used to being the big brother that would take care of Kagura. But deep in his heart, he'd always be yearning for his brother's return, come back. He'd think, "Look how much I've grown. I'm getting almost as good as you are, now." One day, Hayabusa was suddenly summoned home. His father's face was haggard as he told Hayabusa, "Your brother's mission is now yours to bear. You are now my only son." It felt like his whole world was spinning, but Hayabusa became aware of a scandal in Scarlet Shadow. The first Akakage had used secret arts to create the demon Numa, an existence created to act as a shadow opponent for use in training. Yet it grew sentient, and devoured him. Disaster followed. Eventually the demon Numa was sealed away, yet a part of its conscious managed to escape, and it ended up assuming control over the ninja prodigy, Hanzo, the shadow of the time. Hanzo became a demonic form of his prior self, stealing away Scarlet Shadow treasures and causing a massacre, then fleeing. This betrayal of Hanzo's came to be a great shame of the shadows. Countless ninja elites were ordered to eradicate this dangerous target, yet each met with failure, and Hayabusa's brother was the latest sacrifice to that end. By this time, Hayabusa was already a teen. On the eve of the full moon each month, when the competition was held, he and Hanabi would lie upon the tall rooftops together and gaze at the moon. Sometimes Hanabi would shoot a glance at him, saying, "I'll become the Scarlet Leader." And Hayabusa would say, too, "I'll find that guy, find that devilish Hanzo, complete his brother's mission, and become the Akakage in his place." The day of the coming-of-age ceremony just so happened to coincide with the full moon's eve. Hayabusa caught wind that Hanzo had appeared beyond the Kadia Riverlands, and knew that it was time for him to bid Scarlet Shadow farewell. As had become convention, this was the night that he and Hanabi would test each other upon the rooftops. Yet it was her coming-of-age ceremony. Would she come at all? Given she was a childhood friend, he felt he should give her his farewell. With his bag packed, Hayabusa headed out with his emotions in turmoil. He hadn't walked more than a few steps when the heavy rain and fog suddenly stopped, blocked by a Saime umbrella. Kagura pressed close to him, saying, "Hayabusa, I want to go with you too." Hayabusa waved a finger at her, "Listen here. This isn't a game, I'm not heading out for fun." Just then, lit up by a blinding flash of lightning, Hayabusa caught sight of Hanabi stumbling over. Her face was as white as a sheet. Without a second thought, he handed the sobbing Hanabi the umbrella, yet she walked past hurriedly as if she hadn't seen him at all. He could do naught but swallow the goodbye he'd prepared. It was on that night that Hayabusa bid his childhood farewell. "Goodbye, Hanabi. Goodbye, Scarlet Shadow. I'll embark on my journey, forcing myself through the most grueling training, for I must become stronger than any of my line before me, Hanzo. I will find you, and defeat you. I must become the Akakage."
An ally has slain Lord.
I will be the Akakage! Have you seen any other ninja?
Enemy has been slain. Double kill. Slain an enemy. Enemy has been slain. Double kill. Wiped out.